As someone who has sent over 1 million emails over the last 6 months, I want to run you through instantly and how we set everything up so that you've got the best chance of getting silly numbers of opportunities like this. Those numbers, you just put in that each opportunity is worth £1,000 for some campaigns and not all of them, so feel free to ignore that.
Hello, my name is Daniel Spence and I run Automation X, which is an automation agency that builds really cool automations and lead generation.
We no longer track the open rate, so you'll see along here that unique opens are there, whereas if we go to now, some days where we're sending, what's that, 12,900 emails, we're getting 0 opens. All the open rate does is basically clicks on it and looks at the emails. But basically, it's a link that gets opened when people click on it. So all it is hiding a link in there, which then means that you're going to end up in more spam inboxes and so on. So a couple of bits I wanted to cover with you. The main things are email warm-ups. So this is how we've got our email set up at the minute. This is sending 30 emails per day with a minimum wait time of 3 minutes. Honestly, this doesn't really matter. Over the space of a day, sending 30 emails, like a 3-minute gap in between or 7 minutes, doesn't really matter. So hours vary from 3 to 7 minutes, depending on each one. Enable campaign slow ramp up. So this is what you want to do if you're starting off. You want to make sure that your emails just slowly build, slowly build, slowly build. We send 10 test emails every single day to see where they land on the inbox. Instantly completely makes up their numbers about what their deliverability is like and so on, so it doesn't really matter. Warm-up tags. This is something that's newly been introduced. So what Instantly was doing before was you got a 6-digit code. It might be an 8-digit code or 7, some digit code, which was the same every single time. The problem with this was that it was dead easy for Microsoft and Google to spot which ones were cold emails. So if it had this code on, they basically just flagged it as spam. So they've now replaced it with words, so that you can just choose what your words are, so that it just gets changed through and through and through. And that just goes in the subject line instead. So really good way to do that. We have disabled slow warm-up on this account just because we've had it for years now. The daily warm-up limit we've got set as 50, which is higher than the recommended average, with a 50% response rate. So the reason we're upping that is because we are desperate to get some more emails on and done and kind of make sure our deliverability is really hot. So we're making sure we're sending more warm-ups than actual emails, cold emails out. 50% reply rate. This is something that I struggled with for ages. Surely you want this as high as possible. If you're getting 100% replies, then it means that like everyone's reading your emails and replying. Follow me for loads more tips. And even if you do 100% on here and get 0 replies on the other account, it still averages out at 50. However, for whatever reason, 50% seems to be the best rate at which right now that gets you kind of the highest deliverability score on 50%. I don't know why, don't ask me, I don't understand. So we haven't got it set to warm up on weekends only. We send emails every day of the week, so it does not matter, and we'd rather have more emails going out, so we've got that turned off. We want it to pretend that it's reading it. So this spends time on the email, scrolls through the email, and basically makes it look like a human's reading it instead of like an AI, and doing it that way. We don't have custom domain tracking, so we're not sending links in the emails anyway, so it's not important. We've then got open rate set to 100%. We want 100% of our emails opened, otherwise what's the point of doing a warm-up? Spam protection, remove all of them from spam, and then mark as important, we've got set at 100. This doesn't necessarily need to be 100. We're playing around with it at the minute between 50 and 100 to make sure that these emails are marked as important and kind of logged in there, because that just goes against the deliverability score. So if you think of it like a weighing scales, so every time you get reported for spam, it puts weight on here. Every time that you're reporting that it's not spam, it puts a weight on here, and all you've got to do is get it in that little wobble, teetering movement there. If you get it one way or the other, then it causes problems of its own. Don't get me wrong, you can never have too good deliverability, so you can keep stacking that up, then do and crack on. But all you've got to do is make sure that more emails are being reported as not spam than spam, and it will kind of tip the wheel on there. When it comes to campaigns, I won't run you through how to write copy and everything like that. We've done that hundreds of times. But I will show you a couple of bits that we've got set up on here. So obviously time zone based on where the client is, so or where you're kind of who you're targeting and when. That just needs to be on there. And then once again, we send every day of the week. So we've actually found that Monday's our best day, because when we're emailing on a Saturday and a Sunday, it's the first thing that they read in their inbox on a Monday morning. So it's a really, really good way to make sure that kind of you're making the most of your emails. We get an extra 60 emails per account per week sent out because of this. So all we've got to do on a Friday is make sure that there's enough leads in there for them, and then we're good to go. Hit the follow button. You don't want to miss what's next. So we've obviously got all of our email accounts in here. We set this daily limit to as high as it will let us, because we're capping it on the email side. So we're only allowed to send 30 emails per email. So if you put 60 in here, it's going to send 60 total, and obviously we've got more email accounts in than there. We've got send all emails as text only. So technically, if your first email lands in the inbox, your second one will. So you can send whatever you want on the second email. However, I wouldn't bother sending images and links and stuff like that, because it will just damage your reputation regardless. We've got it set to stop emails on reply. So this is the second somebody responds, it pops them in there, unless it's obviously like an out of office or whatever. Open tracking. So we've got this turned off. This isn't, you don't want it on. Any links or anything like that, it's the same as scammers use it to kind of send stuff out. We haven't got any custom tags or anything like that, any sending patterns, anything like that. We don't prioritize new leads. So we used to do this. However, it meant that we ended up with loads and loads of leads that were sat in there kind of, and it would rattle through all of the new ones, and then the follow-ups would get forgotten about. I don't see the point of that. We then had optimize A to Z testing. So when you do a campaign, you do an A/B test. This would choose the winning metric. However, I found that it does it a little bit too soon for me. So when we're normally split testing, we like to send 2,000 emails through both. So if we get to that point, it's already decided which one's going to be the winner, and then it pumps more volume through it, which just backs its theory up, because the other one's only sent like 100 emails, where the other one sent 2,000. Which one's going to have more replies? It's going to be the one that they've picked to send more emails through, which doesn't necessarily give it a good representation of it. So yeah, you can stop campaigns on company replies. We don't do that because we're only emailing owners, and to be honest with you, I don't care if all 5 of the owners email back and say, yeah, go on then, we'll do it. You can enable sending to risky emails. We don't bother. You can disable the bounce back, but also I wouldn't bother. You can add in CC people in and BCC people in, but I wouldn't recommend that. It just affects your deliverability again. So that's pretty much everything on there. Obviously, Unibox, filter through these as you go. We have loads of different campaigns going, so we just change it based on what's what on there. The only other thing that's worth noting, so on here, you'll see that the health score is 94%, and these are 100%. However, it is a load of rubbish. It's like they're just completely making these numbers up. Allegedly, their inbox placement is extremely good and completely accurate. So we are going through and making sure that we're doing everything that we can for these campaigns to make sure that we're getting like 1,267 emails sent, 100% deliverability. We didn't get a single one in spam, which is pretty good going. This is down to our email reputations. We've got our own server which runs these emails on and things like that. So there is ways around it to make sure that you're in that kind of like top percentile. But if I scroll down, you can see that we really weren't. So with those changes, we've been able to really up it to 99, 100%. Follow me for loads more tips, which massively helps on your reply rate. Like everything goes up when your deliverability goes up. So yeah, it's just worth being aware of that when you're going through. But to be honest with you, that's pretty much all that we use this for. So there is a CRM, there is technically you can track your website visitors, you can get leads from here, but on the whole, they're the kind of bits that we use. Obviously, we've got the campaigns, which I've done many videos on how to set up and how to write the copy and everything else. So just have a look at those. But yeah, that should be pretty much everything you need to know on there and setting it up. When you're adding email accounts in, this can be a bit of a pain. So we have ours all set up through here, and then it just links them all up automatically for us based on how we download them from the server. But that's another place that's worth noting. And when you do that, we then go on and edit every single one. So we've got all of the settings set up right. We also do signatures as name like that, so that when we're doing it in the campaign, we actually have thank you above it, and then underneath we have like their role, and we're just inserting this as a variable in the middle of it. It works well for us. We're using it on different campaigns and stuff like that, so we want them to be for different roles and so on under that. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. Obviously, as normal, any questions, let me know. Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.